What do you do when obedience leads to hardship? You follow God, trust His promise, and take a step of faith. But then, the land dries up. The blessings vanish. Everything starts to fall apart. You thought things would get better, but all you see is famine. That's exactly what happened to Abraham. He didn't turn away from God. He panicked. And he made a choice, one that still speaks to us today. Let's step into one of the most vulnerable moments in Abraham's journey. Abraham had left everything for God. He had said yes to a future he couldn't see. And what did he find in the land of promise? Not abundance, not rest, not reward. He found a famine. The rains didn't come. The pastures dried up. His flocks were starving. He had servants to care for, a wife to protect, and no backup plan. It didn't mean he had made a mistake. God had spoken. The promise was real. But the famine was also real, and it was testing the very foundation of his faith. Sometimes after God gives us a word, He allows us to walk through fire, not to punish us, but to prepare us. Instead of praying, Abraham acted. He looked around, he calculated, and he decided to go to Egypt. No word from God, no altar built, just fear and a move. Egypt offered food, security, solutions. But spiritually, it represented self-reliance, compromise, and the world's way. And here's the hard truth. When we stop depending on God, we start making damaging decisions. Abraham told Sarah to lie. He feared Pharaoh would kill him, so he asked her to say she was his sister. Half-truth, full betrayal. Pharaoh took Sarah into his house. Abraham received gifts, wealth, comfort, but not peace. There was no altar in Egypt, no fresh word from God, just silence and the ache of compromise. One compromise led to another. And though Pharaoh never touched Sarah, the trust between husband and wife was bruised. The promise God had made, the promise that required both of them, was endangered. This is what happens when we make decisions in fear. We protect ourselves but hurt those closest to us. We gain something on the outside, but lose something inside. The world may reward our compromise. But there is no altar in Egypt. God, in His mercy, stepped in. He afflicted Pharaoh's house, and Abraham was sent out, shamed, silent, humbled. But God hadn't given up on him. He went up out of Egypt, to the place of the altar which he had made at the first. Back to the altar. Back to the place where faith had started. This is the turning point. Not Abraham's strength, but God's mercy. The Bible doesn't hide Abraham's failure. It shows it. Because real faith is messy. Real saints stumble. And that gives us hope. Maybe you've panicked like Abraham. Maybe you've gone down into Egypt. Made a decision out of fear, not faith. And now you feel far from the altar. You're not disqualified. You're not abandoned. God is still calling you back. To the altar. To Himself. Let Him meet you where you failed. Let Him rebuild what fear broke. Because if God could make a flawed man like Abraham His friend, then there's hope for you too. This story is drawn from the book Abraham, The Obedience of Faith by F.B. Meyer, Chapter 5, Gone Down into Egypt. Join us next time as we continue Abraham's journey of faith and see how God transforms even our stumbles into steps forward.